everybody, and welcome to today's vlog. Today is Thursday, the 20th of March. I'm actually recording this on the day it's going to go live due to what I see as the high importance of the subject matter. This is something that I have suffered from myself, and which is why I'm wanting to do this today. It's all about sextortion and how gangs of usually men, unfortunately, from abroad are using teenagers with access to mobile phones and other digital mediums to be able to take inappropriate images of themselves, and that are then being used in cases of sextortion, where in the worst cases it is actually leading to suicide, which is unbelievable. Here at Willmx Kid, we are a family channel. We are on the internet for obvious reasons on YouTube, and for that reason today I just want to go through some topics with regards to sextortion, my own personal experiences with it as well, how you can spot if it's happening to you, and also some famous instances as well, because it's not just normal people. The category of people that is in today's paper is young boys aged 14 to 17 years old, but it also happens to famous people. And so today's video is in three parts. I will discuss all about my own experiences, what happened to me. It was truly horrific. I will explain the celebrities and the people that have suffered as well as part of that. I will read today's very knowledgeable but also very disturbing independent review from the Independent newspaper, which has got some statistics there as well. And then I'll go on to show you how you can spot what's actually happening, how it continues to happen to me today as well, even though now I can see the signs of it, and I know a lot of my friends do as well, so we are able to act upon it accordingly and not use it. So I hope today, as much as it's far removed from anything that we would normally do, I hope today is educational and hopes to maybe bring about change. And if today's video even helps one person out there, just one person, then I think it has been well justified in taking a step away from our normal fun life and just getting a little bit of education out there to these horrible overseas gangs that are ruining young people's lives. It's a really bright day today with the sunshine, so if you see me squinting, please bear with me. So my story with this topic started in 2004. Back then, in 2004, it was the beginning of mobile phone technology, which included mobile phones with cameras. Back in 2004, there was only one camera provider called 3 that actually allowed you to take photographs and send photographs, and it was only in amongst other 3 photos. I first got married on the 17th of February 2004, and on that day, while I'd had a little bit to drink, up in what I thought was an exceptionally safe space, my very new husband, but somebody who I had dated for 5 years to that day, took an intimate picture of myself, fully naked. I had no idea that the picture was being taken at the time, and I was walking from the bathroom ensuite of the hotel room where we got married into the bedroom. As you can imagine, I was completely shocked. I asked for it to be deleted, questioned why it had been taken in the first place, and I pretty quickly sobered up and realised that this had turned from, a positive day, I'd just got married, into quite a negative one because of something that had happened that made me feel really really uncomfortable. How this then turned into today's topic is I was led to believe that that image had been deleted, and a couple of years later, after the marriage had gone past any point of salvage, the relationship was very, very clearly over, and the person that I was married to was suffering from some very severe mental issues. The decision was made on my side to leave, but then I was blackmailed over this image, because in the time from the image being taken in 2004, when only 3 did camera phones, in 2007, when I did actually leave on the 6th of March, a lot of people had mobile phone technology then, with cameras included. And my ex-husband circulated that photograph, that very private photograph of me, to everybody that he knew, while blackmailing me to stay with him. And he sent it to everyone that had a camera phone that was in our friends' contacts. Now, hopefully, that image is nowhere in existence now. It's a long time ago. It's very nearly 20 years. But that is now a criminal offence. Had he done that now, he would probably be put on the sex offenders register. He would face a fine, and he most certainly, because it was a full frontal image without my consent, he most certainly would have had a prison sentence as well. However, back then, unfortunately, there was no protection like that, because it was all very, very new. Another case that I've personally been involved in, which was also quite horrific, was while entering into a quite new relationship. I was only a few months in. The particular person who I was with at the time, who knew about my situation, because I was like, no phones in the bedroom, no cameras in the bedroom, no nothing like that. I was really quite strict about things like that after my previous experience. It turned out that after several months of us dating, they still had a sex tape with their ex-girlfriend on their mobile phone. And that was startling, to say the least. If you've decided to end a relationship with that particular person, if it hasn't worked out for whatever reason, why on earth do you still carry images, intimate images of intercourse with that person on something like a mobile phone that could so easily get stolen or hacked? You know, was it the same as my experience? Was he using it for blackmail purposes? Was there something even darker going on? I genuinely don't know, but needless to say, massive, massive red flag. And due to me having one of the first experiences of things like that, it really made me question an awful lot of things about that particular individual. So they are, unfortunately, the circumstances that have happened to me. Next, I am going to go on to famous people. I have got my notes for that as well. You don't just have to be like myself or like the teenagers that this is happening to at the moment. It can happen to absolutely anybody, which is why it's so important that information gets out there to help spot and stop it before it starts. The most famous case I'm going to talk about is Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee. Now, everybody of my generation will know this story. It's absolutely awful, and again, I believe it was their honeymoon as well. I might be wrong there, but I believe it was. And they were on a boat somewhere like Mexico. It was a tropical destination anyway. And while they were on this boat, they decided to partake in intercourse and tape it for their own private reasons. And this was back in the day, before things were online, before the internet. So to record yourself on tape, you literally had to do that. You had a physical tape that came out of the machine. This tape that they had, they put in their safe at home with all of their important things. Ooh, falling over. What then happened is their property was burgled. Their safe was broken into and all of their private belongings from inside the safe were stolen, and that included this sex tape. They were then contacted by people saying that they had this sex tape and were basically extorted into giving money over with regards to the release of the tape. And this was the first time that this had actually happened in this kind of context, so I don't think that there was any precedent really to be able to say what was good practice, bad practice, copyrights of anything like that. It was quite the awful situation, and if you see Pamela Anderson's documentary on Netflix, it is really quite grueling what she went through and the privacy that was lost due to this sex tape release. And yes, you know, people will see a way to make money out of somebody else, somebody way more successful than them, and if they get their hands on anything like this, then of course they're going to extort you for money. I'll have to refer to my notes now for this next bit, but another celebrity that suffered from this was Tulisa. Now, Tulisa used to be a judge on the X Factor many moons ago now, and I believe that she lost her job due to this. But yes, Tulisa was in a situation where she partook in some activities, consensual, recorded, but didn't expect the tapes to be released. And again, she was extorted for money to see whether or not somebody that didn't have as much as what she had could get something from her due to this tape. The next one on there was Paris Hilton. Now, Paris Hilton completely bucked the trend of the sex tape and in a way empowered it. Obviously in an awful way, and it should have never happened. But the tape was going to be out there anyway. We know this from history. You know, if you look at Pamela Anderson, it was as soon as the internet came about, it was absolutely everywhere. Paris Hilton knew this. So what she did was, it was going to be out there anyway, so she copywrote it. And so now she still is able to financially benefit herself from her own tape, which is kind of genius and at least a little way into making a really awful situation a little bit better. At least she stopped the person who took the tape in the first place from being able to financially benefit. And that trend also followed on with Kim Kardashian in 2007. Kim Kardashian was exactly the same. Somebody got hold of her sex tape. She not only copywrote it, I think the tape was taken in 2002. In 2007 it was stolen. Somebody tried to blackmail her. She copywrote the tape and basically draws all the profits from it and has done ever since. I think the next thing from that is the infamousy that came around the name of Kardashian then led to the TV programme that I'm sure everybody's watched, but I've never even seen an episode. So again, Kardashians, you hear of them, never actually seen it. But then that comes on to the much darker side of sex tapes. And I'm talking much, much, much darker. And that can be the likes of R. Kelly. Again, Netflix documentaries. I'm not going to go into it. No extortion really needed there. That sex tape was the beginning of that person's downfall due to the age of the people or person, girl, that was involved. So as awful and as horrific as these things are, and I hope nobody that's watching this ever has to suffer from that, at least with the deprived filming of this particular act, the proof was there to put this particular person behind bars. And now from today's news, the reason why I'm doing this in the first place is an article by the independent newspaper today which highlights in particular the targeting of boys aged 14 to 17. As you all know on here, my son is 14, William. He is at the beginning of this age bracket, and I will do anything to protect him and his friends from anything like this online. Again, if this just helps one person, then job done. Boys aged 14 to 17 is the main target of unimaginably cruel sextortion. The alarming trend is driven by organised crime groups operating overseas. Boys are being targeted by an unimaginably cruel wave of online sexual extortion, the National Crime Agency, NCA, has warned. While girls are typically the majority of victims in cases of child sex exploitation and abuse, a disturbing 90% of sextortion victims are male, aged between 14 and 17. The alarming trend is being driven by organised crime groups operating overseas, the NCA reports. These criminals manipulate and blackmail young boys into giving them money, threatening to release intimate images online if they refuse. The NCA has identified Nigeria, the Ivory Coast, and the Philippines as the primary locations of these perpetrators. Growing concerns about the devastating impact of sextortion, including victims driven to suicide, have prompted the NCA to launch a major campaign to raise awareness among young boys about the dangers they face online. The campaign, launched on Thursday, today, will target boys aged between 15 to 17 on social media platforms including Instagram, Reddit and Snapchat. It aims to educate teenagers on how sextortion works, the tactics offenders use, and how to report incidents. Sextortion typically involves offenders coercing victims into sending nude or semi-nude photos or manipulating existing images before threatening to expose them unless they pay money. In some cases, blackmail has occurred within an hour of the very first contact. NCA Director of Threat Leadership, Alex Murray, said the crime has driven some victims to take their own lives. He said, "Sextortion is unimaginably cruel and can have devastating consequences for the victims. This campaign will help empower young boys, giving them the knowledge to spot the dangers posed by this crime type and how to report it." Sadly, teenagers in the UK and around the world have taken their own lives because of sextortion, which has been a major factor behind launching this particular campaign. The NCA's CEOP Safety Centre received 380 sextortion reports in 2024 alone. Meanwhile, UK police recorded an average of 117 monthly reports involving under 18s in the first 5 months of the same year. In the United States, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children received more than 28,000 sextortion reports globally in 2024, up from 26,718 the previous year. Research commissioned by the NCA ahead of the campaign found that 74% of boys surveyed did not fully understand sextortion, while a similar proportion failed to recognise requests for nude images as any kind of warning sign. Nearly 3/4 did not know how to report the crime, and only 12% believed that they could be at risk. Alongside the campaign, the NCA has issued guidance for parents and carers on how to recognise sextortion risks, talk to their children about the dangers and support the victims. The campaign follows an unprecedented NCA alert to teachers last April, which reached an estimated 2/3 of UK teaching staff. Teachers reported feeling better equipped to recognise and respond to cases of extortion as a result of this. The campaign comes amid rising concerns about child sexual abuse, with recent figures revealing that nearly 40,000 such offences were committed by children in 2023. Analysis of data from 44 police forces in England and Wales found that more than half of the 115,489 child sex abuse and exploitation offences recorded last year were committed by offenders aged 10 to 17 years old. Now, I'm going to put a link down below now of the number to call and the contact details if anything like this has happened to you. I will also put it in the link in the description below. So how terrifying are those figures? On average, 117 new cases per month in the UK alone. That is ridiculous. So now I want to look at ways to be able to spot this. And I also want to say it is absolutely not limited to children alone. This is just the educational research that is coming out today in today's press targeting boys. But I know personally, and I've got 3 friends as well online on Facebook, that as soon as we got divorced or out of long-term relationships and we flicked our status from married or in a relationship to single, we received what is commonly known as the dick pic. So at first I found it quite funny, and I've had so many in the 4 years that I've been single that I could probably write a book with them all on. But I don't believe for 1 minute that the people sending me these pictures are the people who the members actually belong to. You know, I work in finance anyway. I am very, very up on fraud and awareness and online safety, which is why this is such an important subject to me. I know that it is probably an overseas person that is sending these pictures, and it always comes with a caption very similar to "I've shown you yours," I've shown you mine, now it's your turn. No, it's not though. No one's ever going to get that kind of picture from me. I don't even put myself in a situation in previous relationships where pictures like that could be ever taken because of what I've previously gone through and previously suffered. There is no way any kind of indecent image or sexualized image would be taken of me. Somebody would literally have to take my head off me and Photoshop it onto something else. And then nobody's going to believe it anyway, because everybody knows me and that I'm a bit of a prude, which I'm very grateful for. So for ladies my age, the usual way for this to happen is by receiving the dick pic. For children, however, it does seem to be similar in ways, but also can be very different. There are blackmail techniques that are used, as well as sending an image and saying, "Oh, this is me, you know, now it's your turn, show me you." In most cases though, it comes completely out of nowhere, and it's usually in the guise of a stolen identity. So somebody already knows who you are, they've already looked at your friends list, they will duplicate a friend's Facebook profile. Nowadays, again, my generation, we tend to only have one Facebook profile. My son's generation tends to have 2 or 3, maybe even 4 Facebook profiles. So it's not uncommon to get a friend request from somebody you're already friends with, and that be completely normal. Now, I don't think that that's normal, and people my age don't tend to think that that's normal, having so many profiles out there, but kids these days do. And that's what the perpetrators prey on. You have multiple sites online, you have multiple pages, so getting a friend request from an already existing friend with another profile is not uncommon. Then this person sends you a private message, and that's where this starts, or can start. That's one of the many guises that have been used, where they will maybe send a semi-intimate picture of themselves, or even just goad you into saying, oh, come on then, go on, you just show me. The answer should always be no. When an image is released digitally, it is out there. And one of the most dangerous sites, as well as Facebook, with modern kids having multiple profiles, the other most dangerous site on this is Snapchat, because Snapchat promises to delete anything that's sent. No, it's not, because you can screen snap it, and even though the other person knows that it's been screen snapped, as soon as you've sent it, they can have a copy, and they can have a copy forever. So prevention, it's dead simple, even though it's not a nice way to look at the world. Anything that you do online is copied or can be copied. Any image that you take on a digital recording device can be hacked, it can be sent somewhere, other people can access it. So the only way to avoid this from the start is to not take that image in the first place. Now, this is a really old-fashioned view, but it's one I'm really glad that I have, and these are the teachings that I tell my own son. If you're intimate with somebody, that is really personal, and you don't even share that with your mobile phone, camera, GoPro like this one is now. That is what used to be called for your eyes only. And if I could put anything in the world out there, that would be it. Intimacy between people who are genuinely caring about each other for your eyes only is probably one of the only ways you can guarantee to stay safe. And after it's happened to me, that is exactly how I deal with everything. It's desperately important that we all stay safe out there, especially online. And again, the only way that you can guarantee that that can happen is to not have the pictures out there in the first place. Thank you so much for watching. We love being on YouTube here at Will MX Kid, and as you probably can get from this video, due to experiences that I've had previously, I'm always really careful about the content that we put out there, and as well as having fun, we do try and be as educational as we can as well. If you're a content creator, I feel that you've got a duty of care to help keep people safe and educated about anything that could harm them in the digital sphere at the moment. If you want to become a member of Will MX Kid, there is a link below. I do exclusive videos and exclusive lives which are members only, and it's great to be part of that community. I've got some awesome people on there, so thank you so much to them for being members. If you just want to stay as a free watcher, then please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. The more subscribers that we have, the more notice that YouTube takes of us, and it just gives me the ability to do more and put more out there. We are going camping this weekend in the car camping. So next Thursday should be a really exciting vlog about our adventures there. And then hopefully on Saturday, if the story comes together and my research can be concluded, there will be another World War II documentary based at RAF Lindholme. Thank you so much for watching, and stay safe out there, everybody. The world has gone mad. Love to you all. Bye bye.
Brilliant. Did you like that vlog today?
Yeah.
And what do you do now?
Hit that like button